Back to Lime Rock Park here on BSR TV for the iRacing British Touring Car Championship round 5. It occurs to me I just said round 4 just before the break, so apologies, that was completely wrong. A couple of questions then from the Twitch TV chat. I appreciate you guys sending in comments and suggestions and questions and other things like that. Yeah, it's about 10 or 15 minutes between each race, and that is because, well, first of all, the drivers need a break. Second of all, you know, we get a break, surely. Come on, give us a break as well. And thirdly, we have to set up the grid manually for each race because iRacing doesn't have a concept of, you know, reverse grids and things like that. So that's the reason why there's a little bit of a break. But you know, enough time to go off and go cook yourself a pizza, which I believe is what Mr. Burton has done, who is also joining us in the commentary box for this race. Meanwhile, the cars are making their way to the grid, and the pole position will be held by Richard Wild this time, so we'll get to the grid in just a moment here at Lime Rock Park. This is the middle race of the 3 races. The qualifying has no effect on this race, so it's just down to the positions in which people finished last time round. So Richard Wild is on pole, David Burnett 2nd, Dan Hunt 3rd, Martin Johnson 4th, and crucially Ellis Stevens 5th. But more importantly, what kind of pizza are you having, Rob?
Just a cheese and tomato standard thing.
Oh, exciting pizza. Does Lime Rock Park not deserve, you know, like a Full House or a Supreme or anything?
Nah, nothing like that.
Oh, well, our timing system seems to have kind of messed up again, so let's bring that one back up. Let's see if we can go to the grid now. We should be able to bring you the pictures. Excellent. Right, so round 5 should be an interesting one, Rob, because the people we expect would be on pole position aren't necessarily there. We're looking at Andreas Katz there, middle of the grid. Not great for him. Richard Wild leads the field though, so should be interesting to see what happens. We're going to try a slightly different camera angle for this one.
And the lights are getting ready. We're about to go green. They're on red in the minute.
Richard Wild to lead the field from David Burnett and Dan Hunt. Away they go.
Off they go.
So Burnett's making progress, but down the outside we've got one of the Jack Goffs. And it's fairly clean through the first corner, hopefully, and Richard Wild manages to keep it on the tarmac. Meanwhile, what's going on behind? We don't have the cameras to show you, unfortunately, but let's see how Andreas Katz got off the line here as well, if we can find him in the field. Looks to be a much better start this time round, Rob.
Yeah, there was 2 cars off there, Sam Goff and
we've got sideways cars there. One of the Wix Racings has gone round. Oh, and one of the UASs is on its roof as well. So what's happened there? Is that Simon Topham who was sideways, or maybe Damien Harrison? It's difficult to tell, isn't it? This early in the race, but we still don't have any indication from the timing. The timing system's a bit rubbish, unfortunately. So let's try and move that out of the way again and get you some decent information. So Richard Wild is up front. Everyone got away cleanly except we did lose a few cars. It seemed to be in the 2nd or 3rd corner, Rob.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't happen at the first corner, but it's definitely a good clean start there. I think everyone's been a bit more careful there.
So Simon Topham down in 25th position at the moment. Adam Terry, meanwhile, is up into 16th. Now this will be a man to watch because he'll be fighting his way through the field. It says 18th on your screen, but that's only correct from the start of the last lap, remember. So Terry in that white Bianco car there, he's got the Wix Racing of Simon Field up in front. So this should be an interesting one, Rob, because Simon Field is no slow-mo himself.
Yeah, definitely. Simon Field's quite a consistent guy with some decent speed in him.
In the meantime, Martin Johnson is now under pressure from Ellis Stevens, who goes down the inside into turn 1. This could be interesting. Johnson in the Jack Goff has the line. So Stevens is up to 4th from 5th on the grid. So we've lost Dan Hunt. Dan Hunt's down to 6th. So he's dropped from 3rd to 6th. Stevens has Hristo Ublev right behind him as well. So 3-car battle. This is currently the battle for 3rd position, which is currently being won by Martin Johnson, but Ellis Stevens has a way of chipping away at the back of your car until there's no car left and you get overtaken.
Yeah, definitely. He started 5th on the grid, so he's already made 1 spot up, but now he's trying to get past Martin Johnson.
He has as well, and that was at the expense of Dan Hunt. But Dan Hunt is by no means out of this battle because that's his white and blue Speedworks car just behind them. So he's 3 places back. McGarity, though, up to 7th. The big hitters in the championship, let's have a look how we're going. Coba Lopez is 2 laps down, so he must have got involved in an incident. Do you think that might have been on the first lap? Was that the Yuasa car that we saw rolled over? And Stevens is right on the back of Johnson there, look at that. Hunt's managed to get past Ublev in the background as well, so there's a good overtake there from Dan Hunt. Let's go back and see if we can get a better view of that one. Down the start finish straight here on the replay. Gets on the inside. The exit to that last corner is crucial, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, definitely crucial because you get a long straight, get behind the car, get an overtaking done to turn 1.
Very nicely done, very clean overtake. Ublev puts up no competition there because if he had, it would have caused an accident for sure. Meanwhile, Johnson is still holding out, so Stevens needs to find a way round if he can. Let's go on board with Stevens and see what he can pull out of the bag. Do you think he'll get round? Do you think he can take 3rd place realistically? He's gone down the inside of turn 1, side by side here. Johnson's got to give him room. He pulls out of it, but he's going for it at turn 2. So Stevens, well, it looked like Stevens was just letting him know he was there. He had his nose in front, but we know Stevens doesn't like to dive down the inside unnecessarily.
And those curves are dangerously high.
Yeah, and it's not like these sort of front-wheel drive saloon cars effectively can handle it. They're not GT cars. They are turbo-powered front-wheel drive cars that you might buy off the forecourt to put your family in. They can handle these high curbs, but if it does unsettle the car, moves it left or right, and you take someone out, that's going to be your fault, and it's very easy to do because they're quite bulky.
Yeah, Nellis just going diving left and right, trying to get past him.
Still got no purchase on the back of that Jack Goff car, really. Martin Johnson doing a very good job holding on. And meanwhile, yeah, Dan Hunt managing to hold off, just behind, managing to hold off Hristo Ublev. But Stephen McGarity has dropped a few places there. What's happened to McGarity? See if we can get that up on the replay here, because McGarity was in 7th place and he's dropping places like anyone's business at the moment. So what happened to McGarity here? Because just behind you can see that's one of the Bianco cars. He's down the inside of the Addison Lee here. Yeah, just gets it wrong on the brakes. He's collided with the Addison Lee. He's now sideways. It looks like he's collected a few more cars as well. But now he's down 17th. He's clearly got a lot of damage. He's going to be in the pits any moment, and it's a shame. But it was a Stephen McGarity braking issue as far as I can see there, Rob.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his battle for 3rd still raging. Martin Johnson still.
Oh, he's gone a bit wide.
He has, hasn't he? And Stevens can't capitalise here, but he's right on the tail, and Dan Hunt is right on their tail as well.
Yeah, it looks like Martin Johnson's doing a good job, but he just haven't quite got the speed. He's holding the cars up behind him, and yeah, David Burnett and Richard Wild seem to be getting away.
So Martin Johnson in 3rd position at the minute. He qualified well. He finished well as well, 4th place in the first race, and that's the view from the back of his car as we're watching the eBay Motors vehicle of Ellis Stevens there. We're just coming into the final turn here, and it's very important to get a good exit here because this is the highest speed straight on the circuit, and you really don't want to get this wrong, especially not when you've got Ellis Stevens breathing down your neck, and he will find a way around if there's any kind of opportunity. It's going down the inside again. Stevens is going to get a bit frustrated by this, don't you think, Rob?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the other guys are getting further away, and with the laps coming down, it's going to be very hard to catch the 2 leaders up.
Well, we'll leave that battle just for now, because Andreas Katz is now in 9th position, so he's done well, because we know he was in the 20s after a first lap incident in the last race. Coba Lopez is still running, but he's down in 30th. He's a long way down, and that is because we believe on the first lap he had an incident.
Yeah, I had a quick look at it. Chepelewski, Lopez and Katz all got involved in an incident with the other cars, and hopefully as we get over the race we can show you a replay and find out what happened.
Well, this certainly shakes up the championship, because Chepelewski, who we haven't spoken about in this race, is out of the race. So he's not in it at all, and that means he won't score any points again. And Katz is under threat here from Craig Burleson. I never thought I'd say that, but Craig Burleson's really going for it down the inside there. Couldn't quite get the position, but normally you don't expect Katz to come under threat from anyone, do you?
That's right, yeah, Katz is normally the best of all of them.
And with Koba Lopez and Chepolevsky out of the picture now, it would normally be something I'd say Katz would be pushing the top 5, but Burleson's determined to get around here, and we didn't see the best race performance from him in rounds 1, 2 and 3 from Brands Hatch, Rob, but certainly showing what he's made of. And we've got a bit of a battle up in front of these guys as well. That's Hristo Oblev as well. Let's see if we can join up with those guys, get you some pictures from there as well, because there's all kinds of stuff going on. That's Oblev with Janowski and Pinella. So Oblev's actually been pipped by well, Pinella's going down the inside. He's taking it, but he's going to run wide here, and that's Pinella. That's Janowski's going down the inside, fighting back. Janowski's fought back. Oblev's got it, and that's all 6 cars are now in one big group, and I can hardly fit the words in to describe what's going on here. But the Bianco car there, the white one that you see there, is that of Ignacio Pinella, and he's gone wide, and he's going to be letting Oblev back through. So Janowski comes out the winner amongst that. So Oblev takes the 7th place back. Pinella's got to watch out though, because there's a big line of cars behind them. That's Katz. Go on.
And they're still keeping it clean as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely great racing from these guys, because they're not on a wide track and they're not easy to control, these cars. They might be front-wheel drive, but they're all over the place sometimes.
I would like to say, back at the front, Ellis Stevens has overtaken Martin Johnson, and Dan Hunt's got past him as well. So Ellis is now 3rd, Dan Hunt 4th.
Well, let's see if we can't get ourselves a little bit of a replay of that. Let's see how far back we might need to go here. So we go back a little bit further. It's quite a... So, yeah, so we're just watching a replay of this. It was a couple of laps ago, in fact, but Ellis Stevens on Martin Johnson. We did think it might have been a matter of time before this happened, but in 4th place in this replay, as you see, Dan Hunt's right behind. Stevens gets a good exit from an unusual place, really. I mean, Johnson's not blocking there, that track does curve, but then gets a bit wide. On the way up the hill, gets a bit loose, and that has allowed Stevens through. Hunt basically just follows him through. Just takes the opportunity, goes through, and Johnson has to give them room, goes wide again, and yeah, that's unfortunate for Johnson, but perfectly clean racing that we've seen there from those guys. But that battle that we were talking about here, Janowski's currently leading this group from Oblev, but Pinella's lost out now. Pinella's down to 9th, so Katz has slipped past Pinella, but look at those two go. Katz and Pinella, who were both eBay drivers last year as well, don't forget.
Yeah, some great racing here, and look at that whole row of cars still after 12 laps, and we only got 4 to go.
Well, this is what I think is hard to reproduce in other series as well. As Oblev's going down the inside of Janowski but won't get it done that time round. I think this is really hard to reproduce in other series, because the standards here are so close that you've got all of these top drivers all going down. You know, there's 6 cars here, separated by 1 second, and this is after 13 laps, as you say, and it's absolutely fantastic to watch when it all goes right, and these guys are all keeping it very, very clean as well. It's, high praise to all of them for that. So Craig Burleson, sorry Rob, down the inside, Craig Burleson, down the inside of Ignacio Pinella, takes the place. So another place lost by Pinella, and Pinella's now under threat from Adam Terry, who's in the Bianca car behind him, his teammate. Well, it's absolutely fantastic to watch, it really is. And Burleson, who we thought might have been able to get past Katz, he did lose out, but he's now behind Katz. So this battle is now Oblev in 7th. Sorry, Oblev in 6th, Janowski in 7th. So Janowski's lost out to Oblev, and Katz is in 8th, Burleson 9th, Pinella 10th, Adam Terry 11th, Field 12th, Richardson 13th, and as far as I can see, Rob, there's 2 seconds separating all of those cars on the track.
Yeah, great stuff. There's still 3 laps to go now.
Oh, and they're fighting it out just at the back there. Adam Terry tries to go past Pinella, and well, they look very similar on the screen, so I'm not sure which one's which. But Terry is past Pinella now. So Pinella lost out to Pinella. Well, he's done so well, hasn't he? But he's dropping places now. And Simon Field is right behind Ignacio Pinella, and he'll want to get through as well. Has Pinella got a problem, Rob?
maybe, and yeah,
he's lost another place there. So, oh, Pinella's going to go out wide here. This could be dodgy. Up the hill, they keep it clean. Well, respect to all of these guys for keeping it clean, even though they're racing so close together.
Down the inside.
So Ublev gets a bit out of shape coming out the last corner there. A little bit of dirt kicked up by some of those cars. And one man who hasn't given up in his battle is Craig Burleson, because he's making a challenge on Andreas Katz. We saw this before and he couldn't make it work, but he's down the inside now. Little bit of contact, that's just more of a kiss than anything else, so they should be alright. Katz gives up the place, and that's one of his championship rivals. Adam Terry is just behind Katz.
Yeah, that was good. Good move for Katz there to just hang back a bit and not get any incidents.
Yeah, absolutely. And Simon Field is now through. I do think Pinella's got a problem, because in one lap he's dropped off. He's a second behind this group now. Field's chasing up this group, so let's go on board with Simon Field and see if he can make any overtaking magic happen while we're on camera here. That's Adam Terry up in front of him with well, the leader's coming on to the last lap now. So they have one more chance around here to go, see if they can do anything. But let's go back to the first corner and just see what happens to the lead cars in this pack, because Ublev's managed to hold on to this well. I mean, you would have thought under pressure from Janowski he might have caved, but he's still going.
Simon trying to go around the outside of the eBay Motors at turn 1. He's got the inside line.
Oh, Simon Field, yeah, with an outside move, takes the inside, but now he's got the outside for the next corner, Rob. Adam Terry should hold on to it, but they're going to be side by side going down this straight. No, Simon Field has yielded, and we'll just come back to the winner here, Richard Wilde, again, from pole to flag. Impressive drive, and he finishes a full 7 seconds ahead of second place man Dan Burnett. Third place goes to Ellis Stevens, a massive improvement over his 5th place last time, but Dan Hunt, look how close Dan Hunt was behind.
Yeah.
Magic Martin Johnson comes back with 5th place, so loses out a little bit, but won't be too disappointed with that as his 2nd race ever. Ublev, then Janowski, then Burleson, then Katz, then Terry. Well, I don't know, Rob, honestly, who finished where. Do you? I think it was Ublev. Well, I think, yeah, it's difficult to say. So, well, read them off as you've got them, from 6 downwards.
Yeah, so from 6 downwards we've got Histro in 6th, Janowski in 7th, Craig in 8th, Andreas Cat 9th, Adam Terry 10th, and Simon Field in 11th, with Pinella 12th, Zoltan in 13th, Richardson 14th, Craig Ray in 15th, Hefford 16th, McKieran 17th, Robert Fagg 18th, Gore Bond 19th, and Damien Harrison ran out top 20.
And it's worth pointing out here that 2 of the big hitters there, Koba Lopez and also lost my marbles again, Stelian Chepalewski, both out. Well, Lopez finished 26th, but really was out from the start, from the first lap.
Yeah, we're trying to get a replay of that shortly and see what happened at that first lap. But I believe, yeah, I think Simon Topham lost it, and there were a few cars there that did get involved in that incident.
Well, I'm wondering if perhaps we can go back to the start of this race somehow and try and get you some pictures of this. It's not something I'm particularly familiar with doing here, so we'll give it a go anyway and see what happens. So here we see Lopez is already in the pits, and let's go back a little bit further. Right, this is the start, so we'll have a look at it from Lopez's point of view. He's coming through the pack here. Look how many cars there are here, Rob. You can't blame anyone for making a bit of contact here. He's very careful, tiptoeing through the field here on the first lap, as we see one car just spiralling off there. One of the Dyno Jets is off. Lopez is the Yuasa red and white car here, and he's got, is that Chepalewski, the black Addison Lee right up in front?
That's right.
These 2 had it coming together last time, remember? Oh, and wow, okay, so, well, that's a difficult one to assess, really, because, I mean, if you look at it from the point of view of Koba Lopez here, now he comes around, he's got Chepalewski up in front of him. There's an incident involving 2 cars up in front. You can just see that car is sideways up in front, so he tries to go round. Chepalewski really has nowhere to go, so Chepalewski kind of gets out of the way, gets collected by Koba Lopez, and then Lopez is up and over, and well, you got to say it wasn't directly caused, but it was indirectly caused by that Wix racing car being sideways up in front of him, Rob.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, nice view of the car going on its side there, but
so we'll just have a quick another look at that from a different camera angle, and you can see there that up in front, yeah, two of the cars come together. There's nothing. Well, it really was game over for Lopez there. Avoidable, do you think?
maybe a little bit. I think some of the cars behind could have slowed down, because I did see that incident happen a little bit further ahead, so they might have had a bit of time to react.
It's always a difficult one, I suppose, because you just don't know. You're putting yourself in those shoes is very difficult. You just don't know, you know, whether that might have been you or something else. But let's see if we can get a quick word with fourth place finisher in this race, Dan Hunt. Are you there, Dan? Doesn't look like Dan's around at the moment, but never mind. That was a very impressive finish for Dan Hunt, but even more impressive from Ellen Stevens, who managed to come home in third in that race. So a fifth and a third so far certainly won't do his championship any harm whatsoever. And while all the other guys are kind of almost flaking out around him, he stands to benefit, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. You know, a good way to keep it going, keep getting the points, being consistent in the races, and climbing that little bit higher to get higher up there.
I wonder if Simon Field is available for a quick chat, because we saw him come up through the field and come up through the field. Sorry, excuse the pun. But Simon, are you with us? Looks like all our drivers have gone shy for the evening, but never mind. We'll try and get a word with some of these guys before the end of the evening. But Simon Field coming up through the field to finish 11th place. Just missed out though, Rob, on that reverse grid pole. And how important is that going to be in the last race? Oh, we might have lost Rob as well. Rob, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
So how important is the reverse grid pole going to be in the final race?
I think it's very important. Although a lot of people have been keeping it clean, it was the back of the grid there that was causing a few problems. You know, having pole means probably everything here, because you can get a good start, keep it clean, and just stay out of everybody's way. Yeah,
I think that is very important. So basically what we're seeing at the first corner is a lot of incidents. The first corner is a bit of a minefield. To be honest, quite a few of the other corners are as well, because when you've got that many cars tightly packed together, you need a wide track. But Terry is going to be starting on pole with Cat second, Burleson third, Janowski fourth. Wile's going to be starting from 10th though, so he's going to be looking to fight his way through. And we have, I mean, for me, Richard Wile performs best when he's in clean air.
Yeah, definitely he does. When he's got the clean air, clean track in front of him, he does do some good lap times and keeps it consistent that way.
Yeah, and one man we saw a lot of last week, we haven't seen a very impressive performance from him this week so far, is Robert Fagg. We didn't see anything from him this race. He won round 3 last week, but finishing 18th in that last race wasn't a stellar performance. But what do you think that's down to?
I think it's down to probably the track. I think he is very fast. It may be just his track combination is not best suited to him.
It's always a difficult one, because you never know you know, how well each driver might know each track. But you know, he was that impressive last week, and it wasn't by any means easy to take a victory on that track with the likes of those drivers, especially not with people like Chepelevsky breathing down your neck and all that kind of thing. So, well, we'll reserve judgment till the end of the next race, I think, Rob, and we'll see what happens to Robert Fagg, because he gave us some very entertaining racing in the last race of all 3 races last week, really. So we're probably about 10 or so minutes away from the third race, and don't forget the third race is the final race of the evening, but there's a reverse grid. So, like I say, Adam Terry will be starting on pole, Andreas Katz second, and that should be very interesting, because Richard Wild will be one to watch coming through the pack in 10th place on the grid. And what we're going to do is going to take a brief break now here on BSR TV, and stay tuned, because we'll be back with the next round live from Lime Rock Park very shortly.